Oh, yeah, it's podcast time, people. Here we go. We're almost in agreement. It's almost agreement time. Almost agreement at gmail.com, on Facebook, on Twitter, on YouTube. Go to the website, almostagreement.com. Check out what we got going on there. Halloween is upon us. We are 3 weeks from today. Well, tomorrow for us, today for you guys if you're listening on release date. May 17th in the Holler, 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. All sorts of good, fun stuff. Find us on Facebook, Holler Street Fair or whatever. There's a couple of different Facebook pages. Anyway, find it. We're doing the music release breakdown right now, so we get to announce our lineup and what cool bands we have scheduled for y'all, as well as the Soapbox Derby at a Street Fair and the other fun things we got going on. I don't know. We had an interestingly raining week, but other than the rain, I don't know what all happened. We'll figure it out. So we're almost screaming at gmail.com, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube. Go to the website, almostagreement.com. Go to your favorite podcast provider. We're on all those places. I'm excited to announce it on Monday. Look out for Headlights by the Southern Progressive podcast that's coming out. That's Jesse Maysark's new project that I'm working on with him. Not my bag in the political spectrum, but it is it's a fun podcast to make. I'll say that much. So be on the lookout for that as well. It's a cool new project that I get to be a part of, and I appreciate that I can. Here we go. Hey, buddy.
Hey.
What's new with you?
Oh, not much.
Okay. I'm really excited about that Headlights. I feel really good about the product we're producing. I'm excited for it's more of the storyteller format of a podcast instead of the random talking shit like we do.
Yeah.
And so it'll be fun. So be on the lookout for that. I'm excited. I'm really fortunate. I feel very fortunate to get to be a part of it, even though, like I said, philosophically, like it's not my bag as far as the politics of where Jesse's at, and that's okay. I can still work. I'm an anarcho-capitalist. Remember, whatever I got to do to make money, I don't have to be morally consistent just to work. Right?
Just morally right.
Yeah, I know. I could sit over here. Like, I don't talk in his show, so I can just sit smugly and be like, "You're so wrong. You're so wrong," and then sabotage his show when he gets famous for it, and be like, "Ha, I gotcha." So anyway, like, there's the soccer kicks off tomorrow. Well, today again. Tomorrow for us in the flesh now in time. Today for whatever. You get what I mean. Saturday the 26th is the first soccer game.
Yeah, last story I saw said that they're the only one in the league right now that's still undefeated.
Yeah, and they also have already sold 5,000 tickets, and I think they only need to get to like 5,200 to break the record.
Saw that too. Yeah, they were looking to break a record.
Yeah, so that record looking broken. So if you got nothing better to do and the rain holds off, because that's the one cool thing about soccer that's different than baseball. If they play in that from rain.
Well, they probably have lightning rules, but yeah, I think they'll
play
definitely play
in the rain.
Like,
As long as it's not like murder, death, storm action act there, they'll get in it.
I'd say the field crew might have a little say in it as well. It's like, all right, guys, we got to call.
I mean, I would think that Randy will get real mad if that soccer team messes up his baseball field.
Right, exactly.
I did this. WBR did do what I wanted. What I was hoping somebody would do. I did get to watch a time lapse of the changeover. It was not as exciting as my United Center in Chicago story that I told a couple weeks ago.
Yeah,
but it's still kind of neat. Like the whole pitcher's mound just kind of recedes down into the ground, and then they put this layer of stuff over it, and then fill it in. And then put sod on top and give the sod a couple of days to kind of intertwine with its neighbors. And, other than where the mound is on a baseball field and when you're looking at it, like that's where the mound's supposed to be. Just a nice flat piece of grass.
I'm trying to remember, I think it was MLB or some baseball league I was watching that I'd never seen before. There was basically like two first base. There was like a blue one next to like the main one that I guess the runner can hit. Mm-hmm. I guess to prevent collisions.
You see that in softball, like in old man softball, because it's a way to keep guys from running into each other.
Yeah. I don't remember ever seeing that before. I was like, wait, that's weird. Is that new?
That is random. Yeah. Where did you see it in?
I mean, I never really watched baseball, but I guess I caught some clip somewhere.
But like pro ball? Or like
I think so. It may have
some
been
minor
college,
league.
but
I don't know.
I'm assuming it would have been MLB.
I've never seen it in pro ball either, so I don't know. Well, since we're on the sports section of the show, I've got the draft on in the background. If anybody cares, I keep an eye on it. I like to see what's going on. But that's like, I've made this joke all the time. Like, that's my level of fandom. I can't get there. I can't get there where I'm like, oh, the Packers need this year, and they better pick this guy, and this is the best guy for the job, and if he's available, then they'll pick him. They're crazy. It's like, I don't know what I'm talking about. Somebody put a really cool montage together that I watched earlier today, and it was of a bunch of like people like us who are like do like sports podcasts or do like sports shorts on their YouTube channels or whatever. Mm-hmm. Who it's like them. It's like it was like God, what was it? It was like a Vikings fan who was doing his Vikings draft review, and he's like, Jordan Jefferson, what are you guys doing picking Jordan Jefferson? It's like a 3-time Pro Bowler now, And but there's a whole series of those, and like these talking head fans, it's like, I thought our front office was smarter than that. They picked this guy, and then it's like, this Hall of Fame career quarterback or something like that a couple years later.
I mean, it's really, I think with any sport, it's really hard to like draft because things can look on the paper or look good your senior year of college or whatever, last year of minors.
Right. And but I think it's another thing that it's a coaching thing. It's a development thing. It's a how, it's a coin flip on whether these kids lose their mind as soon as they get paid.
Right. Some just can't really adjust to that kind of different setting.
Yeah. And so I could imagine that there are people who have been in the league and been around the transition of college to pro players enough that there's some signs that they can see where I think this one makes more sense.
Yeah.
Like there's something here with this player that, this guy over here has better stats and looks better on paper. But when I talked to him or when I was looking at this, that, and the other, I saw this thing. It's something we could develop with where that guy's not going to do the same thing. So I believe that there's people that do know how to see it, maybe not 100% of the time, but certainly could see it better than me.
Right. But it's not uncommon to see, a top-tier player come out of college and just not make it anywhere.
Sure. Well, it's like, for me as a Packers fan, like Aaron Rodgers was at the top of his game, and late first round, they 4-5 years ago, late first round, they pick up Jordan Love. It's like, what are you guys doing? We need XYZ for Rodgers to go get us the parts and pieces. We need these parts and pieces to get our complete team so Rodgers can go win another Super Bowl. And then 3 years later, or two or so years later, Rodgers loses his mind, starts going on his silence retreats and doing ayahuasca voyages and holding out on camp, but not trying to hold out for contract and just being a weird dude. And
I saw something on a story on him recently that I don't know if he's out as a free agent, but it seemed like he was kind of like staying out of the news. Like, I'm not saying if I'm going to stay, but I'm not saying if I'm going to go to another team.
That's what he's been doing for like the last 3 or 4 years. That's one of the things that those Packers, that's one of the things I love about my Packers. They don't play that game. Like Favre was trying to do that to him. We're like, well, I'm not sure. I might retire this year. I might not. And they're like, you need to tell us today or we're moving on. We're going to assume you are if you don't give us an answer. And I think that's kind of what they did with Rodgers too. It's like,
I'm assuming he was just on like a 1-year contract, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, I don't know what his Jets contract was. Last I'd seen anything, there was talks of him going to Pittsburgh. Yeah. Which to me, not that the important sports conversation we're having now is, but to me, that's why, as I've gotten older, that's what I love more about sports. Is it's such a fun little common ground thing on what could be an otherwise awkward situation. There's this guy that through Hollaroo and do all the stuff with Hollaroo, whom our one like universal connection is that he's a Steelers fan, and I can talk shit about the Steelers. I'm good at talking shit about the Steelers, and he's a good to me a good sports fan is somebody who loves their team but can take some trash talk about their team and doesn't get offended. And if you could cross that threshold, I can talk to you.
Yeah. A good fan can recognize faults in their own team,
right? And not even just faults in their own team, but just Pittsburgh's one of those teams that a lot of people love to hate because they've been around for a while. They had an era. They've had 2 eras of multiple Super Bowls and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
And so, especially, my Packers have had multiple eras of Super Bowls and stuff too. But especially, it's easy to hate on those teams that had good eras. And it's like because one of the things too is you meet a lot of fans that are only Pittsburgh fans when they're good.
Right.
And so it's easy to kind of dog real Pittsburgh fans about what happened to all your friends. They ran off to be Chiefs fans all of a sudden. What's going on?
Yeah.
But just that thing, there's something about that. Maybe it's a dude's thing, or whatever. But there is something like wholesome in general about just being able to talk a little bit of sports. You don't have to be like super in depth, but it's a good like general icebreaker in conversation. If somebody could, because anyway, first time I met him, I go into his office. He's got a bunch of Steelers stuff in his office. I was like, man, it's too bad you're a Steelers fan. I might have liked you. And then from there, we just started chatting and doing and working together, and he helped out with the project and all this kind of stuff. But it was just a good way to it's a good, easy way to talk to people, and I loved it. I love that about sports.
It helps just to find like any kind of like common interest that you can kind of joke around with and find that little link.
It's good. So playoff hockey is happening since we're going to stick on sports for a little bit. Have you been watching any playoff hockey?
Watched one game, some of one game.
So what was it? Who was I talking to? Oh, this is a fun story. I'll come back to the Chris Davis part of the story. I think I knew this Chris Davis is a big Tampa Bay Lightning fan. And they're in the playoffs and doing well.
I think you.
And so I'm walking through.
A picture of him once.
I was walking through downtown with because we were making fun of him being at a Preds game right, which I went to a Preds game in Pittsburgh gear, so it's not really fair for me to make fun of him being the visiting fan.
Touche.
But We were talking about that OV's overtime goal earlier this week. I guess it would have been Monday or Tuesday night. In his career, that is his first playoff overtime game winner.
Oh, wow.
I thought like that was like, because again, it's a good way to talk to random people. It was Chris Davis and another guy from his office were walking, and they were walking. We were walking to Market Square together, and he is talking about. We were just talking hockey, and it's like that's what that's. I can just talk. I can talk a little bit of hockey. I'm not like you. You can talk more hockey than I can. I'm not that. I'm not as in the loop as I used to be, but I can still talk hockey. And it was just nice and fun to talk hockey with Chris Davis while we're walking. He's walking to have a lunch meeting with somebody, and I'm walking to have a lunch meeting with somebody else, and I just happen to be coming out of the same building.
Nice.
All right, so I'll back up and tell the front end of that story. The Happy Holler Project as a business entity we don't make any money. We're not a nonprofit technically, although that's on my agenda of things to do, but we don't really make any money, and so we don't have to register a state business tax. And in lieu of a state business tax, there is a city and a county minimum business license. And so it's just a $15 annual fee. If you have a business that does zero, you have to pay $15 a year to the city and the county if you're in the city, obviously. And so I made a good trek. I had a good fun trek down to the city county building, wandered around. Went up to the county tax office, but the county tax office is only the trustee's office that's in the city county building. So that guy says, you need to go over to the old courthouse. That's where that office is. And I was like, okay, cool. Go across the hall to the city tax office, pay my tax to them, talk to Mark Bird, who's the guy that he's the admin for all the beer board stuff, because I got my beer board meeting coming up this next week. And I also have a West High School's freshman football meeting is at 6 o'clock on Tuesday. Beer board's at 5. I got to be out of the beer board in 2 West High School by 6 o'clock. And so I was like, if it's an option, do you mind if I go first at the beer board? And he's like, yeah, we don't, like, there's no rhyme or reason. He's like, usually I do it alphabetically. And I'm going on behalf of Scarecrow Foundation and or X Hunger. So he's like, you're going to be pretty late on the list. And I was like, if it's okay, I would really appreciate it. If it's not, don't worry about it. He's like, no, he's like, generally the only thing I do other than alphabetical is like if a person is coming in with multiple beer board requests for different companies, he'll shove them together even if they're not together.
Makes sense.
Just to save one trip up there. But I don't know. We'll see. I'll see when I am on the agenda when I get there. But he said he would do what he can, so I'll take that.
It's worth an ask.
So anyway, pay that tax there. Go downstairs, go over to the old courthouse. Which have you been in there? Have you ever done any business in the old courthouse?
I think I had like a ticket that I went there years and years ago.
It's a very weird building. So it's got the clerk's office, the county clerk's office in there. You can go get your driver's license updated and stuff like that there. And so it's the big room in the back is where all the driver's license stuff is. And I go in there and they got a little ticket puller thing and it says IDs and driver's licenses. So I'm like, that's not me. And so I'm kind of looking around the room and one of the people working kind of looks at me. I was like, they're like, what you looking for? I was like, I got to pay my minimum business tax. And they're like, through that door. It's this little side door, which was probably like the judge's chambers back when it was a courtroom. Mm-hmm. That there's 2 desks in, there's 2 guys in there. I was like, yeah, I just got to pay my county minimum. They're like, okay, what you got? And I give them the paper and do that thing. But while I'm walking in, the election commission office is in, I didn't realize it, but the election commission office is in the old courthouse.
Oh.
And so as I'm walking in, I see the sign next to the door and I'm like, oh. So I stick my head in that office. And oh man, Chris isn't here. Bummer. So go in and do my thing. And as I'm walking back out, Chris is walking back into his office. And so I shoot the shit with him for a little bit, walking to his office. They did give me a hot off the presses petition returns. There was one more person had returned a petition earlier that morning. But then, shot the shit with him for a little bit. He, of course, said, when are you going to run for office? And I was like, I really don't want to, but I don't know how much longer I can put up with Elaine Davis without at least putting a run against her. To which he politely declined comment, of course. And then we just kind of talked about some other stuff that he was, like I said, he was having lunch with somebody. And so I was like, all right, well, it's good to see you, man. Make sure you listen. I'm sure I'll tell this story on the show. And then I start walking to the Market Square because I'm meeting somebody else there for something different. And I'm walking and he stops and talks to this other person and then go through the little federal courtyard, and then we're walking down the side of the street, and the two of them are like 5 steps behind me. I was like, all right, well, I'm going to slow down a little bit. And they're talking hockey, and then we started talking hockey. And
so you butted in the conversation?
We talked, yeah, I did. We talked hockey all the way from the old courthouse to the Market Square.
I've been checking scores, but I don't have ESPN or anything to really watch anything.
Yeah, I don't think I've watched the game. I think there's at least one game on ABC tomorrow, so we should have some national coverage, some broadcast coverage tomorrow.
Hopefully.
Maybe on Sunday.
Yeah, I've looked through a few, penalties, like after the game's over, just to see if there were any fights. I don't think I've seen the handful of flip through. I haven't seen any fights because both Florida teams are playing against each other, so they've got the rivalry. And apparently the Senators and who are they playing?
Winnipeg.
No, there's 2 Czech.
Edmonton.
No, I think Winnipeg's playing St. Louis.
Edmonton's got what? L.A. LA's
LA,
playoffs, yeah.
He just went away.
That's how
Whoever
far.
the Senators are playing, I guess they have like an inner. I think it's another Canadian team.
Some old school beef.
It's not the Canadians. I don't know. Maybe it is.
Can't get mad at beef. Love the beef in the hockey.
Yeah.
So I don't know. We'll see. I will keep my eyeballs on scores and stuff too. I haven't watched a game yet since the playoffs have started.
I think Toronto's doing well. I think they're 3 games up.
I did see.
So they could sweep.
It was one of those, because it was one of those backwards headlines that I saw it on. It was like whoever they're playing needs to hold this out, or is trying to hold on to not go down 3-0, and then they end up losing the game.
Right. Which Toronto has allowed, I think, once or twice. They like notoriously have gone out in like the first round a number of times.
Yeah.
Even like times that they've come out as like the best team at the end of the season. Somehow they just kind of shit the bed whenever it happens.
Yeah. So
there's always like a running joke throughout the year, I guess, of like Toronto fans. They talk about the the Stanley Cup parade. Like they joke about it being like planned, and then like, oh, Stanley the parade's off again.
Classic. Love it. I was busy this week, but in the calendar, I don't know. We got the soccer game coming up. Dogwood Arts is this weekend.
Nice.
And the weather's supposed to suck tomorrow, so sorry about your luck, Dogwood Arts fans. That sucks. Although it should mean like middle of next week, it should be really pretty. I got to mow. We got to mow bad.
I hadn't noticed.
But it wasn't that bad. Like it wasn't that bad. Like Wednesday on the way home from school, I was like, I probably need to mow this weekend, but not like intently. Like it has to be mowed this weekend. But then after these couple of showers and sun we've had, I swear it jumped a foot in the last 48 hours. But what was it? Kitcannon's did her State of the City this morning at the baseball stadium because everybody's doing everything to stadium. Biggs did his kickoff release to his new campaign at the baseball stadium earlier this week. I tried to pick a fight with Eric Whiter at some point this week. He's really on that 1-800-GO-U-Haul if you're a lefty in Tennessee. Period. He did some rant and rave about it, and it's really it's gross.
What? So it's just like encouraging people to leave.
Yeah, it's like if you don't like the government and politics, here, get out.
Okay. Or get involved.
Right, which is probably going to be the reaction, the more likely reaction over time if he keeps up his snobbiness. Because I asked him, I was like, well, what are you going to do with yourself if all the Dems leave? That's all you do is complain about them. I got no response. I was trying to bait him. I know I was. I was trying to pick a little Facebook fight. But, but Kitcanon reveals her budget. It's a no-fun budget. Nothing exciting as far as the top-line stuff that I've heard about.
Did see something.
Got to prepay a big chunk of the convention center off.
There was something about raising firefighter pay. Firefighter pay.
Right. So there's like a.
But I guess there was an ongoing lawsuit that I think that they're trying to, I guess, maybe rescind that lawsuit. I guess maybe because this may.
Right. I think all of the public service or public safety sector of the city government have an obliged 4.2% raise annually. I think the rest of city government employees get a percentage raise. I don't remember what number it is annually, but the firefighters is going to be more than 4.2% to make up for something.
Yeah. I think that's what they were suing over was kind of like, I don't know if it was after the KPD got a got a raise, and they were like, "Hey, that's not fair." I don't remember the exact merits of the lawsuit, but I remember seeing it before when they first filed it. But
Yeah, I think I'm going to annex my house. I think I'm going to be a city resident by this time in September, October.
worth a shot. Free trash pickup, free brush pickup.
It gets me all the. It opens so many options for me governmentally too. I can run for city mayor or county mayor. I can run for city council or county commission. And then I still have the cupcake jobs that I really want, which are all county jobs anyway. I want to get that county clerk's job or the trustee's job. Those are the cupcake ones that I really want. But that I had those either way. But city council might be fun. Roberto needs somebody to replace him. He's retiring after this term. I don't have time. I don't think I have enough time to get annexed and pull a petition for this upcoming the ballot later this year.
Does Annex have to go through whenever they do like rezoning, or is that something that can happen
That's
pretty much any time throughout the year?
essentially what I'm doing. The game I'm going to play here is I'm going to usurp county zoning by getting into city zoning. I need to double check with city zoning and make sure that I can do what I want to do if I'm in the city, which I'm pretty sure I can. But right now I can't do it in the county, which is annoying because by this time next year, the county is going to be finishing their rezoning, which is probably going to include what I want to do.
Not guaranteed as of yet.
Right. It's not guaranteed, and I don't really want to wait. I want to be done with the project in a year and some change, not just starting. But the other, I don't know. I'm thinking about it too, because the other side too is if I'm right, I won't be done and it won't be move-in. It won't be inspection. It won't be county inspection ready until about the time they're finishing this rezone thing. But they won't give me the permits because it's not in zone. But it will be. So I've reached out to a couple of different people. I reached out to Shane Jackson, talked to Larson J. I put an email into the mayor's office about it. It's like, listen, the master plan that you guys approved a couple of years ago, which the mayor is upset that the county commission is not approving density things for developments off of the master plan. They're doing it by the current zoning. I get what you're doing, and I understand where I sit in the grand scheme of things, but it's like you're literally going to everything about the master plan says you're going to give me the zoning that I want, but I don't want to wait until it gets here. Yeah. Is there anything we can do in a rezoning situation to go ahead and do it so I don't have to annex and I can keep complaining about rural metro and take out my own trash?
So the story, they had a town meeting up in Sevierville or Sevier County about a proposed subdivision with 900 homes. I was like, holy shit.
I mean, how big is
that? I don't know. Is that not big?
I don't know. I don't know. I mean, how big is what's this over here right behind Bearden that all our friends went to school, high school went to? That's a huge neighborhood.
I don't think that's really a declared subdivision. I could be wrong, but
I mean, it certainly didn't get built the way it is. It's like the weird maze of roads and stuff back in there.
I would say Farmington. I always heard like Farmington was like a giant subdivision. I know I've got lost in there a few times.
Yeah, it's a couple. It's probably like 400 or 500. I'd guess.
Yeah.
I mean, there's this new one. There's that new one that's going up off of West Emory. That's going to be this massive multi-complex. Like, I think when it's all said and done, it will have when it's all said and done filled out, because it's weird because like on Emory it's going to be an apartment complex, and then as it goes deeper into the development it's going to get less dense. And I can't remember what the total numbers were, but it was something like, saying like 3.5 people per household. Once this thing, like doing an average of 3.5 people per household, once this thing gets filled out, it's going to be larger than like Morristown or something like that.
Jeez.
Like it was like larger than a decent sized city in East Tennessee, because that's how many people will fit in there.
I mean, if it'll help some congestion, but it sounded like it was roiling a good bit of constituents in that area.
I mean, I get it. Like I do. I really do.
One of the people that I think was looking to like buy a house there, they're like, like I just don't want to have like a half-acre lot.
Well, then you don't want to buy a house there.
Probably, yeah.
I mean, hell, I've got a big...
I don't know if plans have changed, kind of...
I mean, your parents' house is a little bit of an exception, just because of how deep theirs is. But, like, I mean, I think I have, like, a little over a quarter acre. And that's big for Knox County.
Is it? No.
I mean, yeah, I think it's about a quarter acre. And, I mean, it's an old neighborhood, but you go to all these little McMansion neighborhoods around, they have no yard.
Right. I think they may have followed it up, but they didn't want a half acre and like no view of the mountains. Like, we moved up here to see the mountains. I guess they didn't want to be.
Then you don't want to buy that house.
3
Like,
feet away from my house.
Like, what? You don't complain to the government, you complain to the developer.
I may be misquoting.
Okay, that seems like a weird complaint. That's all I'm saying. Like, I
don't know if like she initially got, or if the person that initially got sold in, that it was only going to be 300 houses or whatever.
Right. Or I can see that
changed a lot since, and they were like, wait. When I checked a box saying I was interested, a year and a half ago when this was in the plan.
You were telling me that this was what it was going to be, and this ain't what it's going to be.
And you're like, mountain views. I'm like, yeah, mountain views if you have a picture of a mountain in your house.
You crawl up on your roof and jump off or something.
Build a turret.
But yeah, on my little county ordinance or my county zoning plan, the city or Knox County fired this company out of Atlanta, I think, that they had contracted to help them with the process, and hired a new one. So we'll see what that does to it. Mr. Timmy B was referenced by Politico as the 9th thirstiest legislator in the federal government. Their definition of thirsty being likes to be on TV, likes to get quoted, likes to be seen.
I was like, are they following them just like drinking water anytime they're on the floor?
Oh, you're such a boomer. You don't know what thirsty means. Thirsty's kid slang for horny.
I thought it was something like that, but how are they consider him horny? But just because he wants to be on TV,
he's a camera whore. I think it's really what that
well,
it's.
I know of that kind of like general terminology of thirsty, but didn't think that also kind of applied to like a thirst.
I mean, it's just Politico being saucy to get to get a good headline. And I mean, like, to be fair, I mean, it's not a bad. It's not inaccurate. He certainly, like, how many legislators could you think of that have a particular aesthetic that isn't a blue suit? Like, he has that whole Carhartt jacket thing. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, everybody used to do with the Carhartt jacket. The only other one I can think of is Fetterman always wears basketball shorts.
They still doing that?
He was for a while. I don't know. He was on and off. That was one of the things that some of the Republicans complained about. He's coming into the Capitol building in his silly gym shorts and whatever. But let me say, the point being, it's like, how many other have a signature look?
Yeah, I mean, I can't think of too many.
Right. In other federal legislation news, that the dude with the gold bars in his jacket pockets got sentenced today, 7 years.
Oh, Bob Menendez?
Yeah, 7 years, and he's already asked Trump for a pardon, so we'll see.
So George Santos got convicted today. I think he got 7 years as well.
Well, maybe I'm conflating the two then. What was Santos? Santos was the super liar, right?
Yeah.
What did he get convicted
Rep
of?
out of New York. Huh? What did he get convicted of?
What? Is it
It was like basically like campaign finance. I think he had like credit card fraud as well, where he was like, he took
was
like the
taking
credit card numbers of like from donations to him, and then like used that to like buy a bunch of stuff. And there's I think some other, but I think part of it was like check fraud and like wire fraud or
maybe
campaign misuse.
Maybe I was conflating the two. Because there was the other case, the case with the dude with the gold bars.
Yeah.
What was it?
Menendez, I think was his name.
Because I know there was sentencing of his wife earlier this week, so it might have been the same thing. It might have been the same one. I don't know. I'm not sure if I'm conflating the two now or not.
I think George Santos was just today.
It was on. It was. I saw it in passing on Nightly News when I was getting set up down here earlier.
Yeah.
And so, if it made Nightly News and it was the same day and they didn't mention the other ones, I'm guessing I'm getting confused.
Yeah, I think Bob Menendez, I think he's already gotten convicted. I don't know if he's been sentenced. I don't know if he pled guilty or if he was trying to fight or if he tried fighting it at all.
What a full-on schmuck.
Yeah.
Gold bars. It's so cartoony. Like, it's just like that's a Scooby-Doo episode.
I guess it's slightly less traceable. I don't know.
I mean, maybe, but still, it's just like, I don't know. Cash isn't really traceable either, and that was the other thing he had in his pockets. But like, why would you leave it in your coat pocket in your closet? Like, what are you doing? You don't have a safe?
Maybe so, maybe not. Maybe they don't want you to know. Maybe the safe was full.
No. Pete Hegseth's in trouble again for telling his wife about warplanes, apparently now, too.
Oh, no, man. Have you not seen his response? There's nothing to it. It's a bunch of, like, nothing burgers. This is just...
Right. What is it? He keeps...
Just biased press. That's all it is.
Right.
These are just leakers. It's all these leakers.
All these
used to like be his close friends.
All these bitter employees that I didn't fire, that got fired for me, that are mad at me for getting fired, getting fired, are out there spreading libelous rumors to hurt my reputation. What a schmuck!
Some story.
Apparently, schmuck's my word of the night. This episode is brought to you by Schmuck. You saw something? What?
Saw some story that like he allegedly had some kind of like mini makeup studio put in the Pentagon for his TV appearances, which I think someone tried to refute. I don't know if it was a joke, but they tried to refute, and they're like, "No, he does his own makeup. Like he doesn't have like makeup people."
I mean, I don't know. Whatever. I don't know. I don't want
to. You think at some point enough of this stuff kind of comes up against him where somebody's like, "All right, buddy, you got to go. You're bringing a lot of shade to us."
Well, but I don't know.
You're distracting everybody.
The one that should have gotten the hammer was the other guy on the first signal game.
Oh, Mike Walls.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was kind of odd too. But hey, we'll see what happens.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean,
I think there's actually an investigation going on, at least of the first one. And I think there was a letter sent to whoever's investigating to essentially kind of tack on this second signal gate or whatever to have that investigated as well. So maybe something will come out when there's an actual conclusion to the investigation. But
I guess to me, like it almost feels like this second Trump administration is how blatantly can we be corrupt combined with how quickly can we ruin any sort of positivity we had, like any positive feel we had from like, you know, the honeymoon period they talk about and stuff, like
right.
How like Trump got in day one. It's like, what can we do to shorten this honeymoon period and make more Americans hate me faster? Tariffs? All right, let's do them.
He waited a month for
scandals.
That.
Let's do them. Pardons for people that don't deserve them. All right, we're in. Let's go.
Yeah, I read. I think it was a woman out of like Arizona or Nevada. I don't know if you saw that. She just got pardoned like yesterday. She got convicted. She apparently set up some kind of GoFundMe or like fundraiser for a police officer that died in the line of duty, and then took that money and got like plastic surgery and a bunch of other stuff. Just spent it on herself. Got convicted for it. I think she was going to have like 10 or 15 years in jail.
So the fraud was she did a GoFundMe for somebody who did exist, but she had no connection to actually do anything for.
Yeah, she just kept all the money for herself. Was what she got convicted for.
Huh.
And Trump said, you're a good person. You're a supporter.
Right.
Come out of jail.
You took a bunch of that money that you swindled people out of and gave it to my campaign. So
I think it was just that much worse. It was for the money was supposed to build a statue for the slain officer.
I don't know how that makes it any worse than just a more generic fundraiser for the officer or their family or something like that.
I don't know.
It almost makes it seem more
worse
like,
in my mind.
It almost seems more like, you know, maybe people that donated should have been like, do we need a statue? Like, you know, in Tennessee, we just named bridges after him.
I don't see anything against a statue.
I don't think so either, but I just think like it's weird. Like, you know, I don't know. Like, unless it's like a particularly heroic thing that I don't know.
I don't know the circumstances of it. I think it was like over like 10 or 11 years ago was when the officer died, I think.
Like, I'm trying to think of like in Knoxville, as far as that set of, you know, public safety people, there's a statue of a firefighter in front of the downtown fire department. But I'm trying to think if I've seen.
Maybe that was just kind of her scheme that, you know,
that's
to raise that
like,
much more money. Like, a statue costs a lot of money, guys.
Statues are expensive. Right, that's what I'm saying. Like, that's what makes it almost feel like maybe you guys should have noticed this is probably a scam. Like, we don't build statues like that.
I think she was some kind of like local representative as well. So I mean, it was
okay.
I could be wrong. I think she had some kind of prominence. in the area.
I mean, obviously she had some sort of something if she even gets on Trump's radar. But yeah, I don't know. Like, I don't know. Like,
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know what to like. I don't like it goes like I don't know what to do anymore. like
I'm at the point where like I'm trying to keep up, and I'm like, should I just stop because it's just like one crazy thing after another, and I'm like, what? Did what?
what's not
A
even
lot
this
of it
one
just kind of
crazy
feels like a
thing.
distraction. I'm like, what else is going on when there's all this other like
Sure.
crazy bullshit?
100%. Like, if this is what we see, what are we not seeing?
Right. Like I think I saw it like the Houthis. I don't know how many drones it was, but it was something like $130 million worth of like drones they've shot down recently.
Because
Fucking up shipping lanes. And
we have no desire to be consistent about a train of thought for half a fucking second. Because very little of the stuff that goes through there comes here. And I thought we were MAGA. I did see RFK ban some food dyes.
I saw he's trying, but I thought a part of an article I read said it wasn't really going to amount to much of like a mandate for like the food companies. Like A, they've got their lobbying firms, but like B, it was just kind of be like a pleasant ask. Like there wasn't going to be a requirement that you couldn't do this.
Yeah,
But I think even then, I think they're going to get 10, 15 years to quote unquote phase it out,
out,
etc.
Yeah, whatever. It's a start.
I don't disagree with it. Some of them there's scant evidence for, like, I guess the detriment.
Yeah,
But some there's definitely some questionable. I mean, other countries have phased them out for one reason or another.
yeah. But I don't know. We'll see. Maybe now that Elon and Doge is kind of fallen by the wayside.
Did you see RFK is going to figure out autism by September?
I didn't see that he had a deadline for it.
Yeah,
I did
they're
see.
gonna figure it out.
I did see
They're
some.
going to figure out how to link it to something, is my guess.
I did see that there were some less than
Oh yeah, did you see all that? Jesus,
less than fully fleshed out quotes. I mean, I don't know. It isn't. It. I like. I'll take the bait on this. Like, generationally, I feel like there are more kids that are in school with my kids that are autistic than were in autistic when we were in school.
I mean, I think there's definitely some truth to that. It's more kind of recognized and et cetera. I mean, I think we've seen waves of, anxiety, depression has been on the rise to where I think for years it was just kind of undiagnosed. Like, oh, that's just a sad kid, or that's just kind of a spastic kid or high energy kid. Like they just eat too much sugar.
Well, I mean, anxiety, depression is one thing, but autistic is a different subgenre of affliction.
Right. It's a crazy spectrum disorder.
Right.
That you have a wide variety of.
But I don't think depressive.
I'm using it as an example of other diagnoses that have been on the rise that they weren't, you go back to the 60s and 70s, you didn't really hear about kids being depressed. A, probably because it wasn't really talked about. B, there was probably less diagnosis of.
Okay. So the stance is it was there, we just didn't really pay attention to it. Or didn't have a method to track it.
I think there's some truth to it, yes. Because
Okay.
they
I
found genetic links to autism.
I
So
don't
they know there's
disagree
a
with
genetic
that premise.
factor to it.
Well, I mean that's something as far as finding the cause of. If they're finding genetic links, that they're getting to the direction of causal, I would think.
Yeah.
Huh. Okay.
I get the feeling he's already, espoused that he tries to link it to vaccines, etc. Now I think he's trying to tie it to maybe food dyes. Maybe there's some truth to it, but I think this is something that's been studied for a long time. And I don't.
What food dyes have been studied for a long time?
Not just food dyes and links to different things. Where I think he wants to try to fill in some gaps and make allusions to it.
I don't think that's an inaccurate. Like that. Like when we talked about it, when he was first going through his confirmation stuff. It's like I'm excited to see if he does anything. This was not the stuff I was excited to see.
Yeah.
I don't like the food dye stuff. I think the food dye does have some questions because you have like most major European nations don't let that red 5 or whatever in to anything.
There's a few that we allow that they don't.
Yeah. I mean,
some of it, I think it's just at that level of it's really only toxic, if you consume it for like 30 or 40 years or consume it on a daily basis. And
Right.
I mean, we have all sorts of levels for that at like the FDA and USDA as far as allowable levels of different things.
Right, but then when you compound it with one item that has Red 5 in it that you eat once a week is not that big a deal. But when you have 15 different items that you each eat 2 of a day, and
Right.
so you're
drinking 5 of that soda every day, or that bag of chips or candy or whatever.
Right. Which is a whole other subset of
Right.
cultural issues that go along with it, with the way we eat as Americans.
And when they approved it, it's like, oh, well, on average, people might have this once or twice a week. That's not harmful.
Right. But the problem is, on average, is probably not accurate either.
Right.
And so it's like, well, yeah, okay, on average, the average American, because there's some millions of Americans that don't eat any of it. Because of because of their choice diet, and it's like, well, that means that there are some people that eat 4, 5, 6 times as much of it than that.
Yeah.
I
don't know. Did you see all the crazy stuff he was saying that autistic people are not going to be able to do?
Yes, that was
Okay.
not a
Make
particularly
sure that
well.
was the quotes that you saw. So I
Maybe
was like,
not-
what the is he talking about?
Right, there were 2 little rambles that I was referencing. That one, and then the one where he was talking about like, there's no autistic people that are my age. Is what he said. And he's like, I think
Is he
Crystal,
friends with everybody?
I think Crystal said it best. She's like, have you not run into Elon Musk in the White House at any point?
I think I did see that part.
It's pretty obvious.
I think she made that point, I guess, to both the things you're talking about, basically.
Like, Musk is on the spectrum.
Right.
He's absolutely somewhere on the spectrum.
Right.
I guess technically we're all on the spectrum.
They're not going to be able to go to the bathroom by themselves.
Right. Not going to be able to get a job.
They're not going to be able to pay taxes. They threw that one in there. They're never going to pay taxes. It's like, all right.
I mean, yeah, it's
Just lay it on thick.
I don't know, but I mean that's how politics works. That's how doing stuff like that works. You got to make it. You can't bother with the time it takes to get the nuanced argument out. You just do the very extreme version of the argument. That's I was holding on to this page to talk about. So, City of Knoxville Facebook page. The budget invests in connectivity. Meet RockyBot. Starting next month, he will help you with important city services. RockyBot is a robot raccoon in a City of Knoxville t-shirt that will help with connectivity. I'm excited to deal with RockyBot when I'm trying to pay my fucking taxes.
Is it an AI assistant or something?
I don't know. Very, very interested. He's got tickets behind him, so tickets to the show, call a RockyBot. Get tickets to the concert this weekend. I think Shane Gillis is in town next weekend.
Not sure.
That'll be interesting. I'd like to go to that show. I wouldn't mind seeing Shane Gillis in the flesh.
It's funny, man.
He's got the funny stuffs. He's on SNL again. Coming up pretty soon, too.
I thought they had just announced like the last show of the season. Or maybe they were just announcing who was going to be the last guest.
Nope. Stadium parking for One Knox. Let's see.
Here, or way out there.
Yeah. I mean, I was in there driving around doing stuff today. Not
too bad.
I don't know. Like, again, I didn't hear anything. We talked about it last week. While we were taping last week, I was saying tonight's the night on the test of the parking system. Does the city of Knoxville have enough parking to host a baseball game and have normal Friday night show at Tennessee, something going on at the Civic, something going on at the Bijou, something going on here and there, and it not be awful? And I haven't heard a lot of chat about trying to go downtown on Friday was awful because there's nowhere to park.
Right. But I wonder how many of these people are, used to going to UT games at Neyland. They're like, that's just the way it is. If you come downtown and want to go to something big.
Of it. I mean, like, I think there's some people that, but the people that don't go to the baseball, like the people that aren't going to UT games that have to deal with UT traffic, they're the ones that complain about it.
Yeah.
If I'm trying to go down to the Bijou for, I mean, it's the Bijou. It's not like a huge band comes to the Bijou. If I'm trying to go down to the Bijou for a concert and I can't find a place to park all the way on the south end of downtown because there's something going on in the old city, I might be a little peeved about it. I think it's a fair kind of like, come on, man, this is ridiculous. Especially because, one of the big places to park for that is over at the Civic Civic's got something going on. What do we do?
I think the couple times I went there, I was able to get that lot literally like right across the street from it.
Yeah.
That's a little paid lot, and it's not very big.
They've got that old garage leveled to the ground.
Not sure which one you're talking about.
That's the one that's been falling down. It's like it was historically designated, and so the guy that owned it was like, I can't do anything. They're like, well, fix it, make it like renovate it and turn it back into a parking garage. It's like there's not enough money in a parking garage for me to spend on what it's going to take to get this thing up and running to keep your historical significance alive,
or the amount of dynamite to take it down.
Right. And apparently he'd been asking to demolish it for years, and they kept denying it, and he was just like, okay. And they just didn't do anything, and it started falling off onto State Street, whichever the road is that runs right next to it. Like chunks were falling off onto the sidewalk and into the street. And he's like, "What do you want me to do? You won't let me tear it down. I'll tear it down right now." No, we want it to be pretty.
Didn't read the story, but I saw. I guess they've either found someone or they've already come up with plans for, I guess, renovating the old Smoky Stadium.
I did hear about that. It's some Knoxville-based company. I didn't see who.
Yeah, I don't know if they already had plans for it or if they just picked someone that is going to redevelop it.
Oh, good on them. I mean, I didn't figure Sevier County would take very long to get that thing
Oh, hell no.
taken care of.
I mean, it's in good condition, so they don't want to wait too long and let it really start kind of falling apart.
I mean, just
Somebody going to come in there and try to scrap all that metal.
Put a 900-unit apartment complex in there. That's what Sevier County needs is 900 units packed into small places.
Sure.
I was just joking about your development earlier. I haven't been out that way in forever.
Nah, neither have I.
I'm trying to think of the last time I drove past the 407 exit, but I was down. I mean, I was down. I had a meeting in Magnolia, on that part of Magnolia, and got real lucky with the weather. As I was getting out of the car, it was light, intermittent, heavy raindrops, for lack of a better word. Like it wasn't raining heavily, but each individual raindrop was big. And then I got into the building, and it was buckets. And then we wrapped the meeting. I was like, okay, thanks for your time, man. I got to get out of here.
Perfect timing.
And I walked back out there, and it had quit. And by the time I drove to the weed store and did some business, it was sunny and bright. I had to get my sunglasses out. Nailed it.
Perfect.
But there's room. There's room for stuff. I'm excited. I'm really excited about Knoxville. I don't know. I do need to run for office. I need to get back on my Metro kick. I really do. This is dumb. What are we doing?
Got an uphill battle.
Not really. It's like the 17 people that still actually own working farms in Knox County that are the problem. And I'm not selling you. You don't have to sell your farm. Don't sell your farm. Keep farming your farm. I don't know if property tax is different.
Is that really a big hang-up?
Yeah, I mean it's the rural sect that wants to keep Knox County rural. And anytime, like all the
going metro would presume that it would just kind of expand out, or the city would expand out.
I mean,
they would be forced to sell their farms.
I mean, yeah, essentially, yeah. I think that's the fear, or that not that they would be forced to sell their farms, that their neighbor will sell their farm, and that'll turn into a 900-unit development, and then their farm will no longer be next to another farm; it'll be next to a housing development.
What precludes that from happening now?
I mean, there's a few like functional things in place, but like density being the big one. You know, like right now, like if you get out into the edges, like especially like northeast Knox County,
right, like straw plains and whatnot.
Yeah, like I mean, I don't think you can surpass. I think the new plan says like 6 units per, 3 units per acre or something like that. But the current zoning is like 1 unit per 5 acres. Like you can't have it's single family residence, but it's a larger plot minimum.
I don't know, and just driving around the past like 5 or 10 years, I mean,
it's all everywhere.
Yeah, seeing subdivision pop everywhere. That's what I'm saying. I don't really see how this going metro is going to stop subdivisions popping up. Maybe it'll stop, a bunch of apartment complexes with the housing or the unit limit.
Well, going metro won't stop it, but denying metro won't stop it either. And I think that's what you're trying to say here.
Right. That's what I'm saying. I don't know. I can see them losing their farm either way if metro.
Right. And I think that's, I mean, again, like like it's such a stupid thing to get to keep pounding on, but it's like let's take a second. Let's talk about this, people. We cannot stop the growth. There's only one way we can stop the growth, and nobody wants that either. Like, what can we do? We can jack up property taxes and not do anything with them. Because if we jack up property taxes and do good things with them, it doesn't scare people off. You know, it's like, oh, they have a really high tax rate, but their roads are great and their schools are awesome and all the infrastructure is really nice and their sewage system works really well and all that kind of stuff. Well, that doesn't really scare people off. So we just like triple property tax, but don't do anything. So the roads still suck. And, you know, the schools are overcrowded and all those kind of things.
Did you see we had two spots on the interstates in Knoxville that made the top 100 for like worst. It was top 50 or top 100, like worst places for congestions on the interstate.
I'm not surprised. I didn't know, like, nationally?
Nationally.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Knox County owns, the busiest, the most cars per hour come through Knox County on 40 and 75 of anywhere in the state.
Really?
Yeah. So even though, like, you can't get through Nashville without stopping.
Yeah, the one in Nashville was like, I guess, 24. One of the splits there was ranked worse than R2.
Yeah, that one when you're going 40 into Nashville, and it's the 40-24. Is that what it is?
Yeah, I think that's what it was, yeah.
The 40-24 split is awful.
Yeah.
I've never been through Nashville where that's not crawling, ever. I've done it at 10 in the morning. I've done it at 10 at night. Both ways. It is always bad. Like, we coming out on a Sunday night, coming out of camp from Waverly. So leaving Waverly at like 7. It's a solid hour to get from Waverly to Nashville. Through Nashville is another 20 minutes or whatever. So it's 8:30, 9:30 on a Sunday night. No football game, mind you. Just to be clear on that part. Just not to throw a little extra thing on board because it could have been Sunday night football game. Anyway, Titans suck. They never get Sunday night games anyway.
But they got top draft pick.
They did, and they got that Alabama quarterback. Was it Alabama quarterback?
I think it was Miami. I think it was already
Cam
last.
Moore's right. Anyway, they got and so it's like nothing in particular was happening at 8:30 or 9 o'clock on a Sunday night.
I think that's when I came back from Missouri. It was like a Sunday evening, and I was still just crawling.
It sucks. It just sucks.
Yeah.
And part of it's that weird, there's some weird outcrop of rock that they carved out to get the different splits going through it, but they left the rock in the middle.
Huh.
There's a geologic formation in there that for some reason they left in there. And instead of just leveling the whole thing, they just carved through what they needed to because it's only like 20 feet tall. It's not like it's like a huge mountain they're crawling through. It's like just like this 15, 20 foot tall rock formation that clearly they cut through, but they just left the rest of it there.
Yeah. I don't know if it's always just like the way I've gone through Nashville, but it always kind of seems like, you kind of come in on one side of like a 4 or 5 lane interstate, and whenever it merges, you've always got to go like to the opposite side of the interstate.
Yeah, if you're going through Nashville, well, if you want to go around the south side of Nashville proper, right. If you're not trying to go up towards Louisville, and you're trying to continue west, right, you go through that, you get that split. And then you have to get from that to the far left lane. And then when that split actually happens and you get to the other side of that split, you got to get to the far left lane again to get back onto 40 West on west side of Nashville.
Yeah.
It does suck. You're right.
There's times I'd almost do that over like Atlanta. Just because partly like the drivers. The past couple of times I've driven through Atlanta, like it's a madhouse.
I don't like Atlanta either. You're right. But again, like the back to the moral of the story here is Metro Knoxville, to me, is, okay, guys, here's what we're going to do. Knox County residents, you're going to be upset. We're going to raise your taxes. But we can do separate zoning. We can do a bunch of stuff to try to maintain some of our rural areas, 100%. But what we're going to do is we're going to have a unified zoning. We're going to demand density downtown. If there is a single house on a lot of land, it's going to be a tiny house on a tiny piece of land. But with that extra tax revenue, we are going to invest heavily in updating current infrastructure and then expanding infrastructure for growth. We're going to be widening roads. We're going to be stacking roads. We're going to do whatever we can to move more traffic. We're going to look into, I'm thinking, my new one that I'm kind of stuck on. I'm trying to think. I think it was La Paz, Bolivia.
Okay.
I think it's La Paz.
There's a restaurant called La Paz here.
I think it was the Long Way Up, that Ewan McGregor motorcycle docu-series.
That's where he and somebody else went through, like China on BMW motorcycles.
Right, so you're right. First time was Long Way Around, and they went from London to New York riding motorcycles, and the only time they weren't riding their bikes was to cross the Bering Strait.
Damn.
And so they got to Alaska and then rode all the way down to into the States in Washington, and then rode all the way across the United States. Really fun show. They do a long way down where they go from the tip of Scotland all the way down to South Africa. Mm-hmm. And then this newest one they did on Harley Davidson e-bikes from Tierra del Fuego to LA.
How the hell they do that?
It's pretty interesting. It was pretty dumb. Like, I don't know. Like, it was neat. It was kind of cool because this was right when Rivian was coming out, and so Rivian, the truck people,
right?
They gave them a couple of prototype versions of the truck. That was where Rivian was. They weren't in production yet. They gave them 2 prototype trucks to run with them.
So they had 2 big trucks. They had to figure out where to charge as well.
Yeah, that was a lot of things.
Like a giant truck.
But that was the other part. The cool thing about it is that Rivian went through and put in a bunch of electric charging stations all through South America on their route, which I haven't. It'd be an interesting thing to go look at and see if the chargers have expanded, because it gave people the option now, because there are some chargers, kind of thing.
I was about to say, I figured they would have a giant truck with a giant diesel generator.
They did. Okay. They did. Okay. they had like a Land Cruiser,
just in case.
They had a Land Cruiser that had a generator in tow. But anyway, I think it was La Paz. That has a gondola system, like down at Ober, but it's like a mass transit version of it. Like La Paz is up in the fucking Andes, and so it's like a super steep whatever, and so it goes both vertically up and distance.
Right.
But it was like a 6-mile thing. They got on this thing, and it was like 6 miles. There were 2 stops from end to end, so you could get off halfway. And I was like, that's got to be way cheaper than a subway or something like that.
I've been to a couple like amusement parks, kind of have a gondola system. You know, only seats like 4 people, but you just get like a sky view basically of like the whole park.
It just
doesn't really
goes.
take you anywhere. You just go in a big circle.
Oh well, no. Like I mean, when we went to Disney,
you could do that same concept to have like a little.
Well, when we went to Disney a couple years ago, we went. We stayed in one of the resorts, and it had you could go. We got to Epcot and Magic Kingdom without going anywhere, or we took a bus to
on a monorail.
No, it was a gondola thing.
Huh.
And so like we got on it, and you went up, and it was the back entrance to Epcot, which was awesome. So we go in the back, for our Epcot day, we went in the back of Epcot. And then what was doubly awesome is me and the older one, the mom and the younger one went back a little earlier, and me and the older one stayed and hung out for a little bit. And as the fireworks show was starting, we were like, let's get out of here. He's like, hey, let's get out of here. I was like, the fireworks are about to start. He's like, yeah, whatever. So we get on the gondola thing, and we're sitting in the thing and watch the whole fireworks show.
I think I remember you telling me about
from
that,
30 feet in the air, 50 feet in the air, whatever this thing is.
That's cool.
I would say, like, you put one of those in where it does a Turkey Creek, a West Town Mall, a somewhere else, and then a downtown stop. How cool would that be? That'd be super cool. And it wouldn't be hard. Like it'd be like, it's not hard. I mean, it's not easy to build per se, but it wouldn't be hard to build. You could build it all like inside, where the majority of the towers are like in the little wedges between on and off ramps of I-40. It's like all the support structures are on public land that already exists that isn't doing shit anyway.
Right.
I don't know how much it costs. It'd be something to look into. Vote me for mayor. I'll look at it. I'll check it out. Because again, I am convinced. I am 1,000% convinced that we need to figure out some sort of mass transit, some sort of late mass transit for Knox County. Like, we just need to do so.
Late as in modern?
More modern, yes, but late as in like that runs with expanded hours. Cat buses suck.
Right.
They don't run good hours. It's not their fault. They don't have enough riders to run good hours.
Yeah.
But it's also buses suck. They just do. Like, you know, like it, and they just do. They're just not. They're not an efficient way to get places. They're not a comfortable way to get places. So if we could have a better way that's either faster or more comfortable, the gondolas aren't going to be a faster way. They don't move as quickly as a bus would on the interstate, at least.
Yeah, but I think you'd get less kind of like stops out of it. I mean, the cat bus, you know, going down Kingston can have like 30 different stops.
But I think that's the point. I think that's the design that I would. The design that I would do would be this gondola thing or whatever my big version is, whether it's a gondola or some sort of like light rail. It would be. It has four. Like it starts downtown. It goes north. It has 4 stops from downtown to the north end of wherever it runs. South goes to the airport. West goes all the way out to Farragut. East goes out to Straw Plains, but only has a couple stops in between the beginning and the end of the line. And then when you get off at the tram station, whatever mass version we do, from there, you get off at West Town Mall, and then we have a snowflake pattern of buses that go out from there.
Yeah.
And so there is no bus in Knoxville that goes from Turkey Creek to downtown, but you can get from Turkey Creek to
Cedar Bluff
downtown.
or something, yeah.
Right. So you get on a bus from where you are to Turkey Creek, get on this thing, whatever this thing is, get downtown, switch from thing A to thing B, and then go up to Emory and get on a bus and get out to Halls.
Yeah.
You have a couple of transfers, but only a short version of that is on a local bus run. The majority of it's on this, whatever the bulk version is.
I was seeing something years ago. I don't know if you saw it in the time you were in Denver, but I've heard like part of the city center is essentially closed off to any cars, and they kind of have a good like trolley system or kind of like bus system.
I can be down with that. I mean, again, it's just like you got to make it. You got to make it convenient for people. That's the other thing. Like vote Seth for mayor. The other thing I would on zoning stuff in commercial zoning, you are allowed to have 0. Well, I don't know how to word it technically. I'm done with parking lots. No more parking lots. You're not allowed to build a parking lot. You're obliged to have a certain amount of parking depending on what your business type is that you're building for in commercial, but you're not allowed to have a open air parking lot. The Knoxville or the University Commons right there where the Publix, it used to be, or it's a Publix, it used to be the Walmart and a couple other things. That's the model. If you want to build on Kingston Pike, you have to build it on Kingston Pike, like right on the edge of Kingston Pike, and your parking goes underneath. So
dig it.
I mean, it's just like how much fucking space do we have in surface level parking? Surface level parking sucks.
And it adds to flooding.
Yeah. But it just takes up space. It's so much space.
Right.
I mean, hell, like that. So the garage that they just tore down and the one that we were talking about next to the Bijou. That is one full city block of Knoxville. That has, I mean, it's valuable. Yes, don't get me wrong. Having a place to park is important and people need that. But it's like, there could be a building there. And I mean, on the tax rolls, like for the tax revenue side of it, it's like a building right there that has businesses and offices and stuff like that has way more tax value than a parking garage.
Yeah.
Has way, way more value than a surface level parking lot. So that's my plan.
I agree.
So whatever that
make
means.
it happen.
But I mean, like think about how much space. Like think about how much space we would exist if every parking lot that's on Kingston Pike that the businesses are on the back of. I mean, that's double. You have double space everywhere. Like every shopping center went up on stilts and came out to Kingston Pike. You have a whole nother lot behind it that's empty. Or you leave the shopping center there and you build a new shopping center on stilts above the parking lot that's already sitting there.
Yeah.
Like, look at that. So much commercial area that make it millions of dollars in tax revenue.
There was something interesting. I think it was in Detroit that they were building kind of this new, I think it was like an apartment building or something, or like a business office where they were literally building it from the top down. It was like this crazy kind of like stilt system where I guess they were, constructing each unit and building it like one layer at a time, kind of
Down.
working their way down. Yeah,
That's weird.
yeah.
Okay. I'll have to see what I can find on that. That's interesting.
I want to see it. It's Detroit. It's one of the major cities.
Detroit what? Rock City. I don't know. That's about all I had on my my list of stuff that was going on this week that I wanted to cover.
Not sure what the latest is on it. It was the former Tennessee House Speaker. His trial is going on right now. I think it had to do with some kind of like mailing firm they'd set up where they were basically like soliciting to, I think it was mainly to the GOP as far as like mailing out, I guess like election flyers and whatnot. That had to do with, I guess, some of the funding of it. They either taking money or it was kind of misappropriation. But I did see, I guess, one of the new things, I guess his assistant, Cade Cothran, I think is his name or something. I guess he's also has like a charge against him of like falsifying records that actually has to do with Justin Jones. I guess it had to do with like apparently he got, it was, I guess when he was in high school or part of like kind of a youth activist group, had gotten trespassed from Capitol grounds or something. But then Kate Cothran or whatever took like a picture and kind of like changed the date on it and like submitted it that like, oh, it shows him that he wasn't supposed to be here on this day and it shows that he was here. And I think he at one point had charges filed against him, but he was able to, he had the actual original copy of like the email he had sent or like the picture and was able to show that like, no, I was not there on that day. Like
All right.
So just one more ad against, or one more thing against the speaker and his assistant. But I think I saw a story like last week that Cameron Sexton was, I guess, got arraigned to be a witness in the trial that's going on.
Not arraigned, subpoenaed.
Subpoena summoned.
It's got to be like obliged to, like he has to appear whether he wants to or not.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it was voluntarily. I don't know if they actually had to like serve him with a subpoena.
Okay. God, I don't know. Yeah, there's too many stories, especially of corrupt officials, which is kind of like, no, that's bullshit. Maybe it's not. It does scare me with the idea of running for office. Like I want to believe that most people start the process in good faith. Like, I remember we joked about it, like when Gloria was running for Senate.
Yeah.
Like, part of me wanted to watch what would happen if she won that seat somehow. It would have been miraculous for her to win that seat.
But sorry, what you thought the machine might try to do to her?
Yeah,
or something?
absolutely. Like what the Democratic machine, not the federal government machine, but what the Democratic machine was going to do for her. Because she's not a proper Democrat at all. Like in the federal model, or the national model of a Democrat. She's too much of a muckraker. Which for her role in Tennessee government is perfect. And right now it'd be pretty good if she was in the U.S. Senate right now. She'd be a pretty good character in the issues against Trump and fighting Trump and all that kind of stuff. But she still doesn't play by the rules of the party either.
What issues do you think that you think are core to her that you think that you don't think align with the federal Democratic?
Oh, I don't know that
persona.
I mean, I'm not sure. I mean, she was. I think her campaign was standing tall for the people. That was always her little campaign slogan because she always made the reference to how tall she was.
Right.
I don't know. I don't like. She's certainly not a Nancy Pelosi Democrat. She's certainly not a.
Okay. I mean, but you can look in the House and Senate and see different kind of versions of the D or the R.
Right, but I'd be curious. Like, I don't know. Like,
just kind of trying to figure out how different and why.
I would have to see. I'd have to see some stuff to like. I'd have to see like the specific would be like some sort of bill that's needs bipartisan support to pass, and that she's had some at least verbal ideal to agree with, but the party at large, the party whip is like, no, we're not voting for this, and will she do it anyway? You know, that's not a position she's ever had to be in this Tennessee Senate or Tennessee House, excuse me.
I think in both of the major parties, you kind of have little groups or individuals that will pop up here and there and go against their party.
Sure, but very few and not many, and usually they don't last.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what brings the average lifespan of not lifespan, but career span of a federal House person, because they'll primary you. I mean, Eddie Manis is the state example that we have for a Republican that didn't act like the Republican that the party wanted him to.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Like I'd be curious to watch it, and I don't mean it. I don't wish unwell upon her for the point I'm trying to make, but I'd be curious to see what the machine would do to her. And I think that's a semi-universal ideal, and it's not unique to the Democrats. Is I guess the point I'm trying to make. It's not a right or left thing, because Trump has destroyed the Republican Party into his own image, and good proper Republicans can't do their job anymore because they've got to somehow kiss Trump's ass at the same time.
Like, what is this? What we are now? Oh, okay, yeah, I'll do that.
Exactly. So tomorrow for everybody, the Central Cinema is playing has a showing of No Other Land. This is not paid advertisement. Central Cinema is good people. I like the people that run that place. 4:00 on Sunday afternoon, they're showing No Other Land. It is a Academy Award-winning documentary from a Palestinian journalist about some of the crazy shit that's going on over there. One of the two creators of it got killed not a month ago.
Really?
Like a journalist.
I think I did read about that. Yeah.
So I'm a little freaked out on my super capitalist stance, because it's a fairly controversial movie in the current conversation on how we're allowed to talk about what's going on over there, because it is certainly a pro-Palestinian documentary. But to the point where like there was what was it? I think it was in Florida. I think it was DeSantis in Florida was trying to get a local mayor to shut down a movie theater who played it. Not just stop the movie theater from playing it, but shut the whole movie theater down.
Yeah, it's getting crazy.
Yeah. And again, this go when this thing started.
It's like free speech. What's that?
When this thing started, what was the first thing I said?
When what started?
Post October 7th. Because that's become a date.
I can't.
I don't get it. I don't understand. Why do we care? Why do we continue to care? Why does it matter? Yes, it's a tragedy. 100%. I don't like the idea of any mass murder situation. But that it requires a significant involvement on our end to...
We've always had close ties with Israel. I mean, the handful of peace deals, was it Jimmy Carter had the...
Camp David Accord.
Yeah. I want to say Clinton did one as well.
Yep.
During his...
Trump had the Abraham.
Trump had the... Was that a peace... I thought that was just moving the embassy. Was there a peace deal involved in it? I don't recall. Yeah.
But yeah, either way, I don't. I could functionally understand the historical significance and why it's such a tumultuous zone of the world. I get that. I understand that it is the epicenter for three of the top 5 world religions. Right?
Yeah, we've decided long ago and decided to stand hard to it that they are an ally.
Okay.
I can't answer why. Like I said, it's just...
Agreed.
I hate to say that it's just the way it's been.
That's part of the thing, right? That's part of the problem I have with it. It's like, but why? But then the other part is like, well, there's a difference between an ally and a co-conspirator, for lack of a better word. Like, I'm your friend, you robbed a bank. We're still friends, but you robbed the bank, you deal with the consequences. Like, I don't need to rob the bank with you. If you want to go rob a bank, buddy. I'm not going to tell you not to. But I'm not going to actively rob the bank with you because you decided to rob the bank. You know what I'm saying?
I get what you're trying to say, and it's kind of hard to equate the two. It's
It
a
is
hell of a lot more complex than that.
Sure, but it's just like I'm not obliged to rob the bank with you. Maybe be the point. We're friends. We're really good friends. I love you to death.
No, but in a criminal trial, with the facts at hand, we could be considered an accomplice.
Well, we'd absolutely, if we're going to keep the analogy out, we're absolutely an accomplice to what Israel is doing currently, but we're only accomplices because we are, like, you're going to rob the bank. You say you're going to rob the bank. Can I borrow your car? I'm absolutely an accomplice. You say you're going to rob a bank. I'm like, go rob a bank, man. And I put my hands up and I don't do anything. I'm not really an accomplice. I just kind of knew beforehand, which, some prosecutor might try to turn me into an accomplice in the thing.
All right.
But
I don't know.
that's my. I think we're in the same place here. I don't get it. I don't think you get it either.
No, I just don't have an answer.
Okay.
You're searching for answers, and I don't know what. Yes, we can both agree we don't fucking know.
Okay, fair enough. Anyway,
let's hammer it in some more.
I kind of want to check out the movie. I kind of want to go watch it, but I'm pretty sure they sold out already. If not, check out Central. I don't know what their website is, but Central Cinema, they're cool.
Maybe they'll open up a second screening or something.
Yeah. That'd be cool if they had enough interest for it. We have a drag show earlier that day. It'll be an interesting crowd mix when you have a bunch of people on the way into that thing, dealing with all my drag queens.
I'm trying to think of some other stories I saw.
Ooh. Yeah, I don't know. I've not. I've been. It's been, like I said, it's been a busy week for me. I didn't get as much of my normal podcasting as I generally do.
Did see Oak Ridge is building I guess they got approved. I think they actually got a federal grant for it, surprisingly, to build a statue commemorating the Scarborough 85.
Okay.
So I guess, assuming it was like one of the first, maybe East Tennessee or the first to desegregate a school or have a desegregated school.
That's cool.
I guess there was like the Clinton 5, and I think the Scarborough 8 or 5, whatever the number it was. I think they may have been a little before or a little after. But I don't know. My first thought was, wait, how's that not going to get canceled as being DEI? We can't talk about that stuff anymore. Just don't even. Let's not teach it.
What did Knox County Schools did something? I forgot. Nope, lost it. Got nothing.
There you go.
It's gone. It came. It went. It was a thing.
I think I saw they announced teacher pay.
Yeah, it's
budget.
Part of his budget that came out last week.
Okay, yeah.
Oh, that's the one that we talked about it on here. The bill that they had. There was a bill that they were going to exclude non-papered children from going to K through 12 schools in the state of Tennessee. Here,
Yeah, I saw that. They put it on hold, basically.
It failed. Yeah, I mean, it went to that place where bills go to die for the rest of the session. I mean, session's done, so all the things we've talked about. The other one that did pass that is interesting. I'm not exactly sure. Like I've been trying to work my way through it mentally. So when I become Knox County mayor and try to work my metro stuff or whatever it is, basically the current standard is if we set an ordinance in Knox County that violates state law and or the Constitution of the state of Tennessee, we can do it until somebody brings suit against us. Somebody being an individual.
Yeah, I think we talked a little bit about that.
Right. New law going on, I don't know when it officially takes effect, but passed in this previous session just ended, basically gives the Attorney General of the state of Tennessee the ability to initiate an investigation with no pretense. So I don't know. I can't think of a specific. Maybe okay. Maybe the city of Knoxville says, as a governmental entity, we recognize the right of our residents to purchase and consume marijuana products, regardless of what the state law says about its availability. Now, that is technically going to be, like, when everything settles in from this session, that is against the state law.
Right.
Now, the current standard would be that would just happen, and it would be fine. And until somebody sued the city of Knoxville saying you're breaking state law, it could just stay there.
Yeah, I think we talked a little bit about it. It was the same bill that had to do kind of like with home rule. It seemed to almost kind of be targeted at in case, Knoxville, Chattanooga, any kind of democratic city tried to become like a sanctuary city.
Right. That's really
it had
what
to do
the
with
target is,
you couldn't violate anything that was already a state law.
Right, which is technically already true.
Right.
It doesn't change it, but the big thing about the way this one works is it gives the AG the power to start it, and if a 3-judge panel agrees with the AG can withhold state funding to that municipality until it's corrected. So on the sanctuary city argument of the thing, if Knoxville wanted to be a sanctuary city, whatever the fuck that means, until the city of Knoxville corrects that ordinance on the books, the state of Tennessee will send $0 to the city of Knoxville. And in case you're wondering, everybody, as far as I understand it, every dollar that the city of Knoxville gets, other than property tax, goes through the state first. So that's a big problem.
I'm trying to see, I saw an article that actually had to do with, what they accomplished this year in the Tennessee legislature.
Nothing good.
It's got vouchers.
Nothing good.
Passed. See here, pass an immigration bill that would create a border czar and an enforcement division and require new state IDs for non-citizens.
So a separate state ID for non-citizens?
I think that was what was passed during the special session.
Okay, keep it coming. Bring it to me.
Let's see here. We got Hurricane Helen relief. Helene.
Yep, that was still special session. Yeah.
I don't know if it was national, if it was state. I think it was a national thing, or like National Weather Service, whoever like names them, like took off a handful of like the ones that were really bad last year. They're like, we're not going to use that name again.
Yeah. So it's like a retired number of an athlete.
Yeah, I think
we're going to hang that in the rafters and never use it again.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I read that. We got immigration in schools, but I think that was the one. Yeah, the bill was pulled before it made it to the House floor for a final vote.
Yep. Speaker Sexton, you prick. Let it get to the House floor. Lose. He actually, by the understanding I have from what I've heard on it, is he pulled it because somebody brought it to his attention that if it does pass, there's a ton of federal funding the state of Tennessee won't get anymore.
I think I heard that mentioned. I know there's a couple of bills that I think the one we were just talking about with the home rule or whatever, that there was a worry that it may open up to possible a lot of lawsuits that would cost the state a lot of money to have to fight.
Right. Well, lawsuits are one thing. It's losing state funding as a whole.
Right.
Losing federal funding is
I think I did read that as
big
well.
Big chunk of money. What to say Tennessee is like number 3 of the 50 states for the most federal funds received. Tennessee receives funds by a huge margin for how much it contributes to the federal budget. Continue. More.
Here we got DEI. That was the dismantled DEI bill prohibits state and local governments from promoting or requiring diversity in hiring practices. This bill passed both House and Senate. I'm not sure if Lee signed it yet.
Lee hasn't signed much of anything yet. He'll get to sign stuff here this week.
We got your lovely bill that state bans THCA.
Douchebags. Go back to the DEI one. So,
okay,
where are you at on that one? What do you feel?
Doesn't really
what's
say
your
much
thoughts
on it.
Well, from the high, like,
I think it's another boogeyman bullshit.
Okay. It bans it from all hiring practices or just state hiring practices?
It just says prohibits state and local governments from promoting or requiring diversity in hiring practices.
Okay. So that'd be like the city of Knoxville cannot say we're hiring for this position, but only if you're not A. I guess. Okay.
Yeah, which I would assume that's the way it already is, but I don't know.
I mean, they don't say it outright, but yeah, I get it. Okay, continue. THCA ban, douche-cadoos.
Yeah,
I've got a meeting with Briggs and Massey coming up pretty soon. I'll get to the bottom of it.
I remember about this. I don't know if we talked about it. The farmland easement and the Duck River. I think it has to do with more with like like EPA, like water pollution rights, as far as like what classifies as like connecting waters.
Uh-huh.
So I think that was kind of a big thing, even like some of the federal bills that, like little creeks or waterways that ended up like connecting to somebody else's like farmland, or even like, their drainage ditch that may end up feeding into a tributary that feeds into this or that. And as far as, I guess, like how far back they could, I guess what qualifies as a wetland, and then what's considered like, polluting yours versus something that
Downstream.
Yeah, that contributes downstream.
So what does the bill do?
Focused on addressing the loss of farmland in Tennessee. We've lost 1.5 million acres of farmland to development.
Because that's one of the things is that there's some local nonprofits that do that here. There's the Foothills Project, I believe is what it's called, that you can grant them an easement onto your farm, and by granting that easement, it makes it harder for you to sell it. Not for you to sell it. It limits the ability. How do I word this? It doesn't change your ability to sell it, but it limits the number of things that basically it's giving a partial ownership over, but not. How do I word that?
Yeah, I think this might help. Let's see here. So farmers who want to take part in this program that was passed must prove they are still using the land for agriculture or forestry. They also cannot sell their land for any reason other than agricultural once they receive the money.
Right.
So I guess encourages them to hold on to it.
Right. So this Foothills Project does the same kind of thing where you can grant them an easement to your land, and they don't do anything other than, if you're going to sell it, the person who's buying it understands there's a restriction on what they can do with it. And so you have to go through the process of removing the easement before you sell it to anything other than continuing farm project.
So I guess what I was talking about, I don't think it had anything to do with that bill, as far as I thought it was tied into kind of like water pollution rights.
Oh yeah, you're good. Continue.
Let's see here. Grocery tax bills failed, so I guess it isn't something that passed. Let's see here. They say they failed to repeal the tax on groceries. That was the last one.
Well, we had the tax break. Lee gave us that tax break last year. That's it? That's all? That's the totality of their list?
Well, I don't think it's every single one. I guess
no,
it just hits
I'm just saying. Like, that's their high notes. Like, all right. I ain't mad at it for their list. I'm curious. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what I'm going to do when I get this meeting with Massey and Briggs, because it doesn't matter. Like, I want it, and I'm going to take it, and I'm going to sit down, and I'm going to talk to them and be like, we're going to do this again, but you're going to bring the commissioner of alcohol, the I guess it'd be the commissioner of the Alcoholic Beverage Commission, is who we need to sit down with, because I need to understand what the rules are going to be here.
Right.
Because I have a ton of questions, which I know they're not going to be able to answer. But I did. So, did we talk about it last week?
Probably a good bit of like, we'll get back to you on that.
I don't think we got
Let me
together
find
on-
out.
Right.
I mean, they'll give you an honest answer of like, I can't answer this now. I need to go ask some people.
Right, but then, like, at the back of my head, what I'm going to be thinking the entire time is, then why'd you put the bill out if you didn't know? And I will try. Remind me. Please remind me. I will tell you when I'm going to the meeting. Put your suit on. Come to the meeting with me. Don't let me forget to ask Briggs why. Like, what was the point of this? Why did you want to do this?
Is he the lead sponsor?
Yeah, he wrote. He was. Yeah, he was who he. It was submitted under his name.
I don't know if he was like a co-sponsor or signed on later or whatever.
No, this is one. Like, I mean, it was Senate Bill 1413 Briggs, and then other co-sponsors and whatnot. Tell me why. Tell me why.
It's nothing but a heartbreak for you.
Yeah, no shit. But I mean, I've got to figure this out. I've just got to figure. Like, I don't know. Like, I think there's too many.
Yeah, I think the Nashville News had a story about, I guess, one of their local guys that said he was looking at moving out of state. He was like, I don't know if I can operate in Tennessee anymore.
I was talking to a friend of mine. He operates right here downtown Knoxville. It's part of the reason I was in the old city earlier today. he was talking about he's got like 55 pounds of THCA flower in his warehouse that just came in today.
Right.
And he's like, it doesn't matter because when this thing comes through as it's written and stuff like that, I'm just going to ship it to people. Just nobody here gets it. And you're not allowed to go online and buy it from a retailer. And you can't buy it from an online retailer in North Carolina and they can't ship it to you. You can you can take a trip to North Carolina and go to Asheville and go to a dispensary in Asheville and buy it and bring it right back. And you're fine as a consumer. All it's going to do is fuck me. The way their legal team reads it so far.
No, I think you'd still get busted for having it. I think I thought what I read was like they were going to allow THCA, but it still had to be below the 0.3, basically, which pretty much makes it null and void.
Right. I don't know. The way he was describing it was basically like their ability to try to crack possession is going to be really hard. Maybe they can, maybe it's there, but it's going to be really hard and expensive for them to try to nail down possession charges. And so
it's going to be hard to prove.
It's not going to be hard to prove. It's like the product, a Tennessee distributor could still distribute it outside the state, which means that there's going to be tons of it literally coming into the state to be distributed outside of the state because the distributors are here.
Yeah, I'd have to read.
I need to go back through the whole thing again another time too because
I thought it pretty much just turned THCA into what would be considered marijuana. Basically, like any flower that's below or that's above 0.3, whatever by volume.
Right, it does
is now null and void. So I would assume like you can't have it at all.
Right. But it doesn't stop you
consumer,
from doing
retailer,
it per se, but it's just right. It doesn't stop people from doing it. It's not going to slow consumption. Maybe that's the argument he was trying to say. Yes, it's technically illegal for you to go to North Carolina and buy it and bring it back, but it's not going to stop people from doing it. It goes back to the lottery conversation. It's like how many people went up to Kentucky and bought lottery tickets when we didn't have Powerball.
Yeah, I remember people were driving down to Georgia to get like Fin back in the 90s. That shit was crazy.
Yeah. And so it's like, what are you going to do? Like this isn't, all you're doing is excluding yourself. And apparently we're supposed to get a refund on all of our THCA tax collections.
Well, that'd be cool.
Because it's illegal for
how long it takes them to calculate all that.
It's illegal for the state to collect a tax on an illegal product.
Nice little loophole.
Well, I'm sorry, rephrase that. It's illegal for the state to tax an illegal product or to require a retailer to collect tax on a product. I don't know. I'm not sure how that works. I am fortunate to have some very well connected people that know what's going on to inform me on stuff, and I don't necessarily always keep up with it very well. Oh, I did have a fun one. So early Monday, I was down at down in the holler. And I was in a meeting, and Ross calls me. He's like, hey, ABC's here to do their annual inspection. It's like, okay. He's like, she was asking me some numbers on sales and stuff. I was like, all right, I'll be right there. Because it got to the point where it's like, I have to. He doesn't know the answer to that question. I can look up the answers to that question. He can't. And so I go over there, and this poor inspector, this agent for the Tennessee Alcoholic Beverage Commission, adds the list of people that I will add a list of people that had the very unfortunate circumstance of running into me.
I was about to say, did you light him up? Like, hey, what's going on with this?
I was like, hey, you're here to count you're here to check on my hemp stuff? No, I'm just here for your liquor license. It's like, yeah, my hemp stuff. And she's like, not yet.
Yeah, it hadn't gone into effect.
And I was like, you ready for it? She's like, nope. And I was like, well, I guarantee you that I'm going to be more ready for it than you are. And she's like, probably. And so I joked with her and went through the whole thing with why she was actually there. And the whole time I'm just talking to her about it. It's like,
yeah, did you get the chip off your shoulder, though?
So is this, no. Kept it the whole time. I still got it right now. And I finished the I'll start with the end then. I finished the conversation. I was like, hey, here's my card. Mm-hmm. When they start asking you to go out and do inspections on hemp side, give me a call. $1,500 a head. I will do a seminar to teach you guys how to do your job.
Okay.
She loved it. She was totally in on what I was trying to sell.
You think so?
Yeah. Because I was joking. I was joking with her. I was like, "Look, I get it. Like, I understand the premise. You guys do age verification. You guys do intoxicating products. I get that. I understand where Briggs is coming from with that. When's the last time you went out to when's the last time you went out to a hops field and see how the progress was going on the growth of hops?" She's like, "I don't know anything about hops." I was like, "No shit." It's like, "When's the last time you went out to the juniper farm? I don't know how do you grow juniper, and checked on the gin berries getting grown."
It's a shrub.
You know, it's like, I understand you guys know what you're doing. I'm not mad at you guys for knowing what you're doing. You know what you're doing. You can go to the Jack Daniels distillery and you can tell me how that thing works and how it's supposed to work and the inputs and the outputs and those whole things. But you guys don't know anything about farming. Are you going to go to the fields? She's like, I'm not, but somewhere we are going to have to. And I was like, how does I asked her, like, and this is why I know I'm in good fields. It's like, help me. How does this make sense to you? She's like, it doesn't make sense to me at all. I don't want to deal with this at all. I have enough to deal with in alcohol. I don't want to deal with this. I don't want to, I was like, you'll be back here and you'll be talking to me about hemp and I'll talk to you about hemp. And that's great, but you don't want to do it. You're not ready to do it. You don't have the infrastructure to do it. Ag doesn't have the infrastructure to do it. What are we doing? And she's like, I don't want to deal with it. You're right. Like, she was totally, like, she wasn't 100% with me, but she was with me.
Right.
She's like,
she was with you, and she's
like,
I have enough frustration.
I have enough to do. Right. Yeah, maybe that's a better way to phrase it. Like, she's like, I have enough to do to keep up with alcohol as alcohol stands. We are not in a position to take on the extra task of doing this.
Right. Yeah. Probably.
The only thing
maybe 3 times the number of like entities to then go and
the only thing that Briggs really cares, like the Briggs's logic is they're all intoxicating substances, so it's all the same, right? It's like, okay, yeah, and ABC is really good at doing age verification. Okay, great. Make sure all the retailers are selling to adults. Good job. But like, it's a totally different animal.
Yeah,
and like so again, you know. To for now to put the, like, I feel, and maybe I don't know, I've gotten caught a couple times feeling like I came out of a thing on good terms with the person that I was joking with and been totally wrong, but I'm pretty sure she left the conversation with, you guys are good on your liquor license, we'll be back for hemp stuff, and I look forward to talking to you more and you helping me understand what the actual law is on it. Like, she was.
You could be on the nice list, but you could be on the naughty list.
Right. I told her public. I told her public. I was like, I guarantee you, I will be on the top of the list of people who understand how the hemp law actually works when this starts settling down.
Did you at least go into like, hey, I've been on the phone with Ag, etc.? All right. You at least attempted to qualify yourself. So.
Right. Well, I mean, I joked around with her. I was like, one of the jokes I made was, I promise you, I will have talked to your boss's boss's boss before this goes into effect. Which is what I plan to do when I talk to Becky and Briggs, is to get a sit down with the top, whoever's the top rule maker on this subset of bullshit for ABC. And I'll have him on record because I will tape that conversation.
What do you do if they refuse?
I don't think they have the right to refuse. Depends on the format of the conversation. If it's a phone call, I'm going to record it and not tell them about it. They don't have a right to tell. They don't have a right to.
Are we a single party?
Yeah, Tennessee is a one-party state. Which is why I know I fucked up when I was arguing with Betsy Henderson.
Ah.
Didn't have to tell her anything. I was trying to be nice, and then I screwed up. Shouldn't have told her nothing, because you have no right to privacy when you're talking to me.
Yeah, but you may not make it far with that kind of.
No, and that's why I don't. I've made reference to how much I want to publish this thing, but I have not published it yet.
Right.
And we are a for-profit company, so I don't have to claim any sort of non-biased status. I will be actively campaigning against her for whoever is campaigning against her. I do not want her to be the mayor of Knox County. Sure. Regardless of what her stated intent is, her appearance before the state on school board stuff as a non-school board person is such a crock of shit. I can't do it. I cannot acknowledge. I can't allow it. The dude will not abide. I can't. I mean, it's just. I mean, seriously, like it's not okay. It's not okay that you did that. You can feel that way, and you can personally think that way, but it's not okay that you did that.
Yeah.
You were elected to do the best you can for Knox County schools, and there is no way on the planet that you can make that argument make sense to me. On the behalf of Knox County schools, take our students away from us. Her argument is I wasn't speaking on behalf of Knox County schools. Then shut the fuck up until you get out of office.
I thought part of her argument was like school choice gives Knox County, students more of a choice and parents choice.
Right. It was.
And it could benefit public schools.
It was part of her argument, but that's a lie. We've established that that's a lie.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't. Because I don't have a choice. Where's my choice, Betsy?
Like I said, I'm curious. I know there's a process to where you can put in a request if you wanted your kid to go to a different high school. Like I think as long as they're not filled to the brim and you have a reasonable excuse.
Sure. Like I started the process because there was conversation. Like my oldest was a bunch of his friends are going to Bearden,
right?
And we're physically closer to Bearden, but we're zoned for West. And so I'd started a little bit of the process. I'd made some contact phone calls, not anything official,
right,
on how do we do it, who do we need to talk to. But it got to the point where I was like, all right, man, if I'm going to put the work in, why do you want to go? And it's like, I don't really care. It's like, okay, well, you don't really care. We're going to West. We're going to your,
Right.
I was like, because I went through and I pulled up the academies, Bearden's, whatever academies thing that they're doing.
Not familiar.
The KCS Academy system. We've talked about it.
I may have forgotten about it.
It's just like it's not your electives per se, but it's basically like we had college prep and whatever the other one was.
Technical.
All right. And so basically, instead of just college prep and technical, it's college prep and I think one of the schools has like a cosmetology program, and so like a lot of your electives can get into that realm, like to the point where like some of them have like certifications. You can graduate high school with like your basically a hairdresser's license, stuff like that, and it's like that's cool or whatever. And it's like it's like, well, here are the academies that are at Bearden and or West. Are any of these more appealing to you than the other? Like, help me make the argument for why you need to go West other than your friends are going there.
Yeah.
I'll do it anyway. I'm not saying I won't put forth the effort just because you just want to go there. I mean, I'll pull the I'm an alum card. This is some prodigy shit.
Right.
I went there. I got some beard and shit. I got history at that school. I want my kid to go to that school. Like, I mean, if that's all it is, then I'll make it so. I'll do my best, but
I wonder if there's any teachers still there that were there when we were.
I doubt it.
That one that came into a restaurant I used to work at years ago, I think she was still around. She was a science teacher.
I mean, I hope not. I mean, it's been 25 years. You must have been. You better have been a fresh-faced little kid, only 5 years older than the seniors. If you're still there now,
she wasn't that old.
I'm just saying, class of 2000 is a 25-year anniversary right now.
Right.
If you're a brand new teacher that only did an undergrad and didn't get a master's yet, class of 2000,
60s.
Class of 2000. Hold on. Class of 2018.
That could be 50 to 60.
You'd have been 22 or 23, right? You'd be right at 50, and stayed at the same school the whole time.
On the low end, yeah.
Right. You'd be right at 50, but you would have not changed schools the whole time.
I don't know what average tenure is or whatever for teachers.
Yeah, I don't know. That's a good question. I'm sure most teachers stick it out.
Yeah. To go back, I think I think Knox County has processes in place.
Right, but that's not a choice that I didn't have before this bill passed.
Say again?
That's not a choice I had before this bill passed.
Yeah, it was. I'm almost positive it was.
No, that's what I'm saying. I already had that choice. It's not a new choice.
Gotcha.
Right? It's not a choice on top of choices. Like it. I don't have any new choices now that this bill passed.
Right.
And the argument's going to be, well, you could. Well, no, I can't afford it. Well, that's your fault.
I was just more trying to make to the point of like we had essentially a school choice in place if you really wanted to.
Right.
I think the school isn't obligated to have a bus run to you, but
right.
Like I said, if there's
the private schools
availability
don't either,
and
right.
that's the place you want to go, you can put in the paperwork to do it.
Right, 100%. But I'm just saying, there's no new choice.
Right.
It was my inverse.
As of yet.
I mean, I could. I to be fair, like I could theoretically start selling plasma twice a week and some other stuff, and maybe sort of afford one of the private schools in Knox County with a voucher.
I was thinking more of like a possibility of a new school being built, which is, let's say, at least 3 to 4 years out.
Yeah.
You could probably build a school in a year, but
on the private side, I don't know. Like I get, I want to get Jennifer. I really want to do a show with Jennifer where it's just us talking about my idea for a new private school, and to see how much I think I'm right and she's wrong. Really, it's not that hard to do. The only thing that's hard to do is going to be the state accreditation. The state to say, okay, you're allowed to do this.
I'm trying to remember how homeschooling came out on it. If they're eligible for the vouchers, or if it was, because I know there's some that have kind of
a good question.
where people have kind of come together like a collective, and I think they almost have like a school kind of entity.
The first version
organized.
The first version when it came last year, not in this session, not the one that passed, but the first version, they went and asked themselves to be excluded.
Okay.
Like whatever the kind of community of homeschool families or whatever, like it's like, no, we don't want anything to do with this. Do not write me a check to homeschool.
Okay.
Because they don't want the interference. They don't want to have to do any testing. They don't want anything to do with what the state wants, which I totally get.
I think they're still. I don't know. I don't know that much about homeschool. So I was about to say I think they're still testing in there, whether or not if it's required.
I think it's right. I think it's optional if you want to get into if you want to get some sort of paperwork that shows X, Y, or Z, you can option into a testing that's gonna give you some sort of accreditation to the education you got to go to college or something like that.
Yeah.
I don't know, let's get weird. It's called a show. I splurged and got the good rum, and it's too easy to drink, and I'm pretty drunk already.
Let's see here.
Nice part, though, is I don't get hungover at all on this shit. As long as I go to bed.
So I'm starting to find an actual real interesting one here. Jesus.
All right, Grandpa, put your glasses on. Come on.
I hadn't seen the video, but I thought it was kind of interesting and crazy. There was a humanoid robot that ran in a Chinese half marathon.
Oh, I did see some of this, I think.
And see how well it did.
Maybe
once we got our pun person in. One small step for robot kind, thousands of them, really. Humanoid robots ran alongside actual humans in a half marathon in the Chinese capital city on Saturday.
no, like I don't think any finished. If I remember seeing the story correctly.
So it was first, as a precaution, dividers separated parallel courses used by the robots and people. Let's see here. The 20 teams fielding machines in the humanoid half marathon competed under tailored guidelines, which included battery swap pit stops. Let's see here. There was one that claimed victory among the non-humans, crossing the finish line in 2 hours, 40 minutes, and 42 seconds.
I don't know what that means. How does that compare? What did the human finish the marathon at?
Let's see here. Yeah, I didn't mention.
Oh, the machines are coming.
Focused on the robots.
We're all going to die. They're going to kill us all.
Oh, there's a robot. Restaurant in Havana defies Cuba's tech struggles with digital menus and a robot waitress.
Ooh.
Oh, that was one. I got a little bit of follow-up last week. U.S. YouTuber remains in custody in India after visiting restricted island with the Diet Coke can.
Yep. Hang him by his toenails. I hate that guy. Whoever that guy is. The North Sentinel Islandese, or whatever their names are.
Yeah.
I'm pro those people.
Leave me alone.
Yeah.
I thought we had an agreement.
I don't even think they had an agreement. I think there was just an understanding. I don't think there were peace talks.
Yeah, it could have just been, I guess, maybe an agreement amongst the Indian nation of like, hey, we're going to make a law. Nobody fucking goes there.
Right.
Nobody, period.
Just leave it alone.
Yeah.
We don't need to mess with it. I mean, that's good policy. You know, you don't have to mess with it. Don't mess with it. That sucks.
Yeah, nothing else really good.
Nothing good? What was the verse of the tech, though? Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
That's a show, people. We did it.
Yeehaw.
Ooh, I got saucy. I'm saucy. This is why you're always going to have a poor production value on our show. Is because I'm never going to not do it in my house. Because I'm going to get saucy and then go fall asleep in the guest bedroom. Because that's what I do. Anyway, Almost Agreement, everybody. Almost Agreement at gmail.com. Facebook, Twitter, YouTube. Check us out. Do what we can to support the show. Tell your friends about us. We're going to keep talking about stuff. Look out for summer of 2026 for the Storytellers Festival. Apparently, I'm pre-invited to that. I got to figure out what I'm going to do if I'm going to be on Storytellers Festival. Because I don't tell stories. I just talk shit. So, Almost Agreement at gmail.com. Facebook, Twitter, YouTube. Favorite podcast. Go to your favorite podcast provider. Like, friend, share, follow. Do what you can do to support the show. We appreciate you guys for listening. Almost Agreement at gmail.com. Tell me how dumb I am. Tell me how awesome Sam is. Those are the things I want to hear. Oh, yeah. That's it. What do you got? I really feel like I forgot something this week. Yeah. Something happens important. We'll talk about it later. Bye.